Why is that good and why is it bad? Let me tell you my thoughts on it. When you're fishing habitat that requires this, that's thick and heavy and requires this bait to stay attached to the hook so that it goes down together, that's when you want to peg. When is that? Mat fishing, when the vegetation is very, very thick. Dense brush piles, thick, heavy vegetation, I'm wanting to peg it. Because what can happen, let's say if it's not pegged, right? Let's unpeg this by pulling the bobber stop up. When it's unpegged, right, that weight's going to separate. So when you flip into the vegetation, the weight can get through, and a lot of times the bait will get hung up right in the canopy. No good. The weight's now down on the bottom, and the bait's stuck up here in no man's land. So that's not going to work. Same thing can happen when you're flipping trees, brush piles. The weight will find its way through and leave the bait hanging up on the trees and the branches in no man's land, and that's not what we want. So in those applications, I'm going to peg it. That peg is going to drag that bait right down with it, right? It's wherever that weight goes, so goes the bait. So that's when I'm going to peg. One of the things that I've experienced in my fishing is loss of fish, right? Due to pegging. It can happen. I find that when I peg the weight, I will lose a small percentage of the fish that I would catch if it was unpegged. So my goal is always to fish it unpegged. I peg it when I have to. I fish it unpegged any other time, because this is what I see happening is when the bait is unpegged like this, the bass will come up oftentimes, a hole, grab the bait, and that weight can slip right out of the way. And now the bass has the bait and the hook only. There's nothing getting in the way. When I set the hook, that hook's gonna pop right out of the plastic, and you're gonna get a really good hook set, good penetration, and you're gonna land all those fish. What'll happen some of the time when you're pegged, and it's especially key with a bigger bait, with a bigger weight, is they're stuck together. So when the fish grabs it, he's got the whole thing in his mouth. And when you set the hook, the first thing to come out is that weight. And oftentimes it can pop those fish's lips just enough for that bait to sneak out and you miss the hook set, right? So that's why I choose to be unpegged, because, and that only happens about 1 out of 100 times or 1 out of 50 times. Doesn't happen that much. But if I can, I want to catch those fish 1 out of 100. I want to catch that 1 out of 50 fish. So I will try to fish unpegged whenever possible. Now let me show you how this works. We've got a peg on there, but I'm going to show you how to do it. I'm going to show you how to peg your weight.